In the comments section of her video from June 8, 2020, addressing her thoughts on the Black Lives Matter movement, Lillee Jean said, quote, "I have done nothing to ever insult an African American person ever. I never made a racist comment. Since she apparently does not remember doing so, this video shall serve as a reminder of the multiple racist comments Lillee Jean has made."
Alright, we're using this point, and I notice on Instagram, just as an example, a lot of people use blackface not correctly. For example, you have makeup artists who want to look more bronze, or maybe Rihanna did an amazing, red carpet appearance, and her makeup artist did a great look on her, okay? And the makeup artist wants to look like Rihanna, so they use a darker foundation. How is that blackface? That, to me, is saying I love Rihanna. To me, that is, in a way, appreciation.
Yes.
I think the intent is good.
In case you missed it, please allow me to summarize. According to Lillee Jean, and affirmed by her mother, blackface, when done as a tribute, is fine, and is in fact good. Earlier in the same discussion, Laur Trueman herself acknowledges the painful and degrading history of blackface as used in theater, cinema and television, and states that the reason this was done was because there weren't enough black actors in the past to portray black characters.
For example, back in the 20s and 30s, it was appropriate for white people to paint their faces black that were in entertainment because there weren't a lot of black actors. In fact, there were barely any.
Lillee also claimed that Vikings were the true North Americans, as opposed to indigenous peoples. This is contrary to most widely accepted anthropological and archaeological evidence and historical evidence that Native Americans and Amerindians have inhabited the American continents for at least the last 16,000 years. The Vikings first reached what is now Newfoundland, Canada in the 10th century. This is a 15,000-year discrepancy.
Okay, that is very true. The true North American people are the Native Americans, the Indians. Okay, that's number one.
Before that, the Vikings, though. Those are the true.
Okay, but
you want to go there
but the
too.
bottom line is, this argument, that Vikings, and thus Europeans, were the original inhabitants of the North American continent, is a talking point of white supremacists, and has been used to justify the forced removal of Native Americans from their ancestral homes, the forced conversion to European religions, the forced destruction of native cultures, and the genocide of native peoples. It is not only categorically incorrect as a matter of fact, but it is also incredibly offensive.
Wow, this is all very deep, and we're not attacking black people, but I am saying that I think I've had enough of people telling me their suffering is worse.
Oh, by the way, African American people, I'm sorry, but your family, you could not possibly know your slave ancestors.
That's a good point. They're from like 1800s and back.
They dropped dead, okay? We know our ancestors because some of them were still living. They survived Auschwitz, okay? So we got to meet them. Now all of them are gone, but I can assure you that 30 years ago, we had parties that I met my aunts and my uncles. Okay? They had tattoos on their arms because that's the way it was. They were numbered like cattle. Okay? But African American people cannot say that they've known their ancestors from the slave times. Doesn't diminish what happened to their ancestors, but if you want to call it the way it is, the fact is they don't have first-hand knowledge. We do.
That's a really good point. And
the last confirmed person who was a slave prior to the end of the Civil War was Eliza Moore. She died in 1948, at the age of approximately 105 years old. The last person to be captured and trafficked during the Atlantic slave trade was Cudjoe Kazula Lewis. Born Olaale Kasola in Dahomey, modern-day Benin, he was kidnapped and illegally sold into slavery in 1859 in Alabama as a teenager. He died in 1935, aged approximately 95 years old. There are many people alive today who were alive when these two people were still with us, and their descendants are still living in the United States. In the 1920s and 30s there was a push to record first-hand accounts of slavery from the slaves who were still alive to that point. In 1928, author Zora Neale Hurston met and interviewed Mr. Lewis. Film images of this meeting still survive and are available on YouTube. This next clip may be difficult to listen to, as it is an extremely offensive statement. Lillee Jean states that because she doesn't complain about her family's violent deaths during the Holocaust, Black Americans should, quote, shut the fuck up about centuries of slavery.
that's a really good point. And again, we're not trying to offend people here, but we are trying to say, stop saying your suffering is worse. If I'm not complaining, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Stop
really.
it. Stop it. Stop it now. We know what happened. And if you want to get serious here, they're trying to erase my culture. They're trying to say that the Holocaust never happened. They're not trying to say slavery never happened. So if you want to get real, we do have a problem here. We do.
Once again, Lillee Jean hits the white supremacist talking points perfectly. She is correct in that there are Holocaust deniers in the world. But by telling Black people to stay silent on their mistreatment in all facets of American society, she is perpetuating behavior that has been oppressing people for centuries. By denying people the right to air their grievances, you deny them the right to express the truth about their situations, about the reality in which they live. It silences Black voices, including those who, like Lillee and Laur, have had horrific crimes perpetrated on their family members. Lillee Jean legitimizes the rights of some groups to mourn the past wrongs done to them while demonizing others for wanting the same. This is, whether she realizes it or not, incredibly racist. There are other examples of Lillee Jean making racist statements, including calling non-Chinese women, quote, regular women, comparing the criticism she receives to the murder of George Floyd, confusing Korean people and Chinese people, confusing Indian people with Arab people, and so on. Much could also be said on the fact that she and her mother have attempted to intimidate and deplatform at least 7 POC content creators in recent months, for the sole crime of criticizing her words and actions. However, I leave this for another day. Then, of course, there's Shaniqua, but we'll go over that again later. Lillee Jean, you have in fact made multiple racist comments. You have been offensive to many, many people. You have been asked on multiple occasions to offer a legitimate apology and to actually do the work necessary to make amends with those you've offended and harmed. And yes, you have harmed people. By making these racist remarks, you've given a sense of legitimacy to those who might agree with them. Behavior like yours perpetuates racism, in America and abroad. I hope that the next time someone asks you to clarify your beliefs, the next time someone questions you on your past remarks, the next time someone tells you that you have offended them, you will actually listen to what they have to say and work to change your behavior. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. But without a willingness to learn and grow, you will stay stuck in a cloud of bigotry. If you're feeling defensive when you're being called out, it means you did something wrong. Now, to any other viewers, if you've stuck around this long, please consider donating toward Tater Tatiana's legal fund to fight in court against Laur and Lillee Jean Trueman. She is very close to reaching her goal, and any money collected over her goal will be donated to Black Lives Matter charities and funds. And please check out the videos by the Butter Holt. Their videos on Lillee Jean's racism are excellent and provide a great perspective on why this is a big deal. Links to both will be in the description box.